Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down a couple of my favorite plays on Prizepicks for today's slate for Sunday, April the 17th. Once again, got 4 games on Sunday. Got another, schedule where all the games are spread out throughout the day. And I do want to mention that one of the plays in this video will be from the early game, from the 1 o'clock game between the Heat and the Hawks. So if you're watching this video before 1 o'clock Eastern, you should be able to get this, this full entry in. If you're watching this later in the day, maybe later in the night, then obviously, you might not get this in. But just with how they're scheduling the playoffs right now on the weekends, they are playing some of the games early in the day. So I wanted to go ahead and get this video up, posting this late Saturday night. Hopefully all you guys will be able to tail in this video. If you were able to tail on Saturday, in Saturday's video, you should have done well because we got a 4-0 sweep. We hit every play on Saturday, gave out 4 plays, hit the over 36.5 PRA for Karl-Anthony Towns. Really wasn't much of a sweat. Towns had a really big first half. I think he got there like early in the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter. I can't remember. But Karl-Anthony Towns went way over his PRA. The one that was a little close, that was a little bit of a sweat, was Fred VanVleet, and he was in massive foul trouble. VanVleet picked up 2 fouls in literally like the first minute of the game. But Nick Nurse let him play with the fouls. Thank God he did. I was a little worried that he was going to bench him for foul trouble, but he basically let him play through the foul trouble. He eventually fouled out in the fourth quarter. But VanVleet finished with 37 fantasy points, and we had over 36. So even with him fouling out early in the fourth quarter, he still went over his projection yesterday. So VanVleet hit, and then both the Mavs guys came through. Brunson went over his PRA. Dinwiddie went over his points. Dinwiddie, my God, like he was shooting terrible from the free throw line. He was missing so many free throws when he just needed like those final 2 points. He kept missing free throws. I was getting upset, but he eventually got there. But yeah, guys, it was a great day yesterday. 4-0 sweep. Let's try and do it again. Only got 3 plays for today. I know I gave out 4 yesterday, but for today, there's not as much that stands out. Like I said, I'm recording this video on Saturday night, and there's some stuff that's like still not up on the board. They pretty much have like all the props posted, but they don't have fantasy point projections posted for all the teams. And fantasy point projections, like those are things that I've actually been a big fan of. Like I really like the fantasy point projections. I think there's definitely an edge to these. Just because Prizepicks, Prizepicks is pulling whatever the sports books have for the most part. That's what Prizepicks is going to have. So if you look at Trae Young's points prop on any sports book, it's probably going to be at 28.5. But fantasy point projections, these are something that Prizepicks makes themselves. So I feel like there's a big edge there. Right now, there's not many fantasy point projections out right now. But again, there'll be more stuff added throughout the day, I'm sure. I do give out additional plays on Patreon. I always kind of forget to say this. If you enjoy these first look videos, if you tail often and you've been having success and you want to get more plays from me, I do offer more Prizepicks plays over on Patreon. So throughout the day, as the day goes on, as more props get added to the board, I will share more plays that I like, that stand out to me, that I'm going to be betting on. I share those on Patreon. So probably a couple of hours before the first game starts, probably around maybe 11 o'clock Eastern time, maybe 2 hours before that Heat game starts, I will post some other plays I like for Prizepicks today on Patreon. So if you want to become a Patreon member, see what I can offer, see what I offer over there, you can check it out. Link down below in the description. But, before we get started, guys, just hit the like button down below. Appreciate the likes as always. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. I will be uploading these Prizepicks videos daily throughout the playoffs, and hopefully we can make some money during this postseason. Hopefully you guys, tailing these videos will become a more profitable player. And my goal in these videos is to really explain why I like each play, so maybe that you guys can learn a little bit, pick my brain a little bit and see why I'm on my plays every day. That's something that I always want to do in these videos, is really go in depth and explain why I like each play. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk through these 3 plays. We got 2 PRA props I like that I think are lines that I feel like are a little bit too low, and then we have another fantasy point projection that I like for today. So the PRA prop, it's coming from the early game. I'm taking the over 42.5 points, rebounds, assists for Trae Young. I know betting on star players, betting on overs for star players always is a little bit risky, just because these are kind of the most efficient lines out of all the lines you see. Like star players props are always going to be very efficient. Like most games, Trae Young is scoring between 25 to 30 points. So 28.5 points is a very accurate projection for him. The PRA is one that I definitely like for Trae, and just because Trae, he can have these like massive assist games where he gets 13, 14, 15 assists. He's a great facilitator. I know that the Hawks are losing Clint Capella, and he won't be available for the first game, or he might not even be available in this series. And obviously, Clint Capella is a guy that can catch those lobs from Trae. Trae can get a lot of assists, dishing the ball to Capella. But I think the assist opportunities are still going to be there, and we know the scoring opportunities are going to be there. We know Trey's going to have big-time usage. We know he's going to take a ton of shots when he's on the floor. Obviously, the matchup against Miami is not ideal. Miami has done a fairly good job slowing down Trey this season, but he did have a really good game against them last time they played, right before the end of the regular season. They played, as you can see here, on April 8th. Trey had 45 points, rebounds, assists in that game. He had 35 points, 8 assists, and 2 rebounds. Normally Trey's getting anywhere from like 10 to 15 rebounds plus assists each game. So that's kind of why I like his PRA instead of his points, just because I could see him coming up short of his points prop, but still going over his PRA because he can get 12, 13, 14 assists. He'll grab a few rebounds for the most likely. And on the season, he's averaging right around 42.5 PRA. I think this line's a little bit too low just because of the matchup. I think the matchup is kind of banking in a little, maybe there's not as much upside for Trey in a tougher matchup like this, but I think the upside, in my opinion, the upside is still there just because his role is going to be so massive. He's going to take so many shots. He's going to play huge minutes. I mean, on the season, as you would expect, Trey leads the team in usage by a wide margin. He's got a 34.2% usage rate on the season. His per 36 stats, he's averaging right around 42.5 points, rebounds, assists per 36 this season. But if you actually look at his numbers like over the last 2 weeks, the usage has been even better for Trey. The points, rebounds, assists, per 36 stats have been even better. 35.6% usage rate over the last 2 weeks. 31 points per 36. He's averaging almost 11 assists. 3.5 to 4 rebounds per game is usually where he gets 3 or 4 rebounds each game. So I feel good about Trey. Getting close to 30 points, probably getting double-digit assists. He'll grab a few rebounds, even in a tougher matchup. Like his workload is just going to be so massive. His usage is going to be through the roof. He's going to take 20, 25 shots. As long as he can have a decent shooting game, get close to double-digit assists. If he scores like 30 points, obviously he's going to go over his points prop, but I feel pretty confident if he scores like 30 points, he's probably going over PRA as well, because most games he's going to get 10-plus points, rebounds, assists, let alone 10-plus assists. So I like Trey's over PRA, even in a tougher matchup. I just think his usage is going to be so good. The minutes are going to be through the roof. He's going to have to put up some huge games if Atlanta wants to be able to pull off the upset here. I think they're a good enough team that they can definitely upset the Heat. I'm a big fan of the Heat. I think the Heat are one of the title favorites in my opinion. I think the Heat could definitely make a run at the title this year. But Atlanta's a good team. They're a good team to be an 8 seed. So I like their chances of being able to keep this series close, to keep these games close. And I think Trey's going to just have an absurd role. He's going to play huge minutes. His usage is going to be massive. I like his over. I know betting stars overs is a little bit riskier just because these are very efficient lines, but I feel good about Trey going over 42.5 PRA today. I mean, he's gone over this, and I believe 4 out of his last 5 games, and the one game he didn't was against Charlotte, and he shot like god-awful that game. He shot 8 for 24, plus it was a blowout. So that's what I'm taking for my first pick, over 42.5 PRA for Trae Young. And then the second prop is another star players over, which, again, might be risky, but I really like this one. Over 38.5 PRA for Kyrie Irving is the second prop that I really like for today. So Kyrie's been going over this very consistently. 4 out of his last 5 games. Actually, I believe 5 out of his last 6. He's hit over 38.5 PRA. The one game he didn't was against Cleveland. I think he had like a really bad shooting game that game, if I remember. Might be wrong there, but it looks like, against Cleveland, he shot, 7 for 22 that game. So just a really bad shooting game from Kyrie that day to not go over. But like I said, he has gone over this in 5 out of his last 6. That game against Atlanta, he had 31 points, 6 assists, and 2 rebounds, so he finished with 39 PRA that game. Then the game before that, he didn't go over, but he's hit over 38.5 PRA 5 out of his last 6 games. The one game he didn't against Cleveland, he shot 7 for 22. I mean, the thing for Kyrie right now that makes me so interested in his props are the minutes, man. Like, his minutes are just absurd right now. He's played at least 40 minutes, and I believe 8 out of his last 9 games. So I've got the game log on my other monitor. 42, 40, 39, 43, 40, 44, 45, 40, 41. Those are Kyrie's minutes, I believe, over his last 9 games. Yeah, last 9 games, those are the minutes for Kyrie. I mean, he's just playing stupid minutes right now. He's playing almost the entire game, and in the playoffs, I just expect Kyrie and KD to have massive roles. I mean, if you wanted to take KD's over in PRA, like I kind of like that one too at 44.5. I think that line's a little bit too low. Normally KD's PRA is around like 47, 48.5. I know the matchup against Boston is a little bit tougher, but the roles for KD and Kyrie are just going to be absurd. Like, both these guys are playing 40-plus minutes. Kyrie's going to take, 20, 25 shots a night. The Boston, there's definitely a narrative, him going up against Boston. I think last time they played Boston, I saw a video, where he was, like, stepping on the logo, rubbing his foot on their logo. Like, I think there was a little bit of bad blood between Kyrie and Boston. So there's definitely a narrative here that maybe Kyrie wants to show out. I'm sure whenever he touches the ball, the Boston fans are going to be booing him. So I'm liking the over 38.5 PRA for Kyrie. Obviously, we know Kyrie's a great scorer, but he can facilitate as well. He can get rebounds. Kind of similar to Trae Young. Like, I have a good feeling that if Kyrie hits his points prop today, so if he scores 29 points and goes over his points prop, very likely that he's going to go over his PRA, because he normally is going to get at least 10 rebounds plus assists. I mean, over his last 5 games, these are his rebounds plus assists. 15, 12, 14, 15, 9, so he didn't have 10 that game, but 8, 8. But over the last 4 games, 15, 14, 12, and 15 rebounds plus assists. He's been facilitating. He's been grabbing boards. I like the chances of Kyrie going over 30.5 today, even in a tougher matchup. I just think the minutes are going to be super, super high for him. I think he's going to play over 40 minutes. He's going to take 20 to 25 shots. As long as he can have a decent shooting game, like his chances of going over here. And I could definitely see KD going over as well, going over his props. Obviously, playing KD and Kyrie, taking their overs in the same entry is a little bit risky, but I definitely think these guys are just going to have absurd roles. They're going to play absurd minutes. They're going to be the ones taking all the shots on offense. So I like over 30.5 PRA for Kyrie as our second play for today. And then our third and final play, I'm going to go to the Bulls. I know this is a team that, God, has kind of been frustrating lately. They, towards the end of the regular season, they were really struggling. They just weren't playing well. Now we're heading into the playoffs. They've had a week or two to rest up. I like this team. I mean, I don't know if they're going to have much success in the series. We'll have to see if they're able to, keep things close here with Milwaukee. But I like the chances of them at least, being able to compete. I think the series could go at least maybe 6, potentially 7 games. I know Milwaukee's big favorites right now. They're like 9-point favorites in this game. But I still think this Bulls team is pretty good. I think Zach LaVine with the almost 2 weeks to rest up, I like his chances of having a good game here. He's been dealing with an injury basically like all season. He's been dealing with this knee injury. He has come out and said that he's not healthy right now. He said that like during the regular season when he was really struggling. Well, now he's had almost 2 weeks to rest to get ready for the playoffs, and I expect Zach LaVine, Vooch, DeRozan, I expect all these guys to play huge minutes, just because, again, if the Bulls want to compete in this series, if they want to somehow upset Milwaukee here, you're going to need Vooch, LaVine, DeRozan to play huge minutes every night just to take all the shots, because they're just not going to get enough consistent offense from anyone else. This Bulls team is so concentrated on those 3 guys, and obviously without Lonzo, it's really concentrated around those 3 guys. So over 36 fantasy points for Zach LaVine is a number that I like a lot today. I think this number is too low, especially when you factor in that he should be coming into this game fully healthy, should be able to play 36 plus, close to 40 minutes here. Milwaukee's actually a pretty good matchup for LaVine. Milwaukee does play at a fairly fast pace. They're third in pace on the season, and in terms of 3-pointers allowed, this is a stat that Milwaukee really struggles in. So opponents' 3-pointers made, Milwaukee's allowing the most 3-pointers made per game this year. 14.5 threes made, the Bucks are allowing, and then 3-pointers attempted. When teams are facing the Bucks, the teams just shoot a ton of threes. The Bucks are allowing over 40 3-pointers attempted per game. So it's a spot where Zach LaVine's probably going to take a ton of threes. I know his 3-pointer line, that was one I was looking at. His 3-point line, 3-pointers made, I should say, is set at 2.5, and he has gone over that in both of the games he's played Milwaukee this year. I think one game he shot 4 for 7 from 3, and the other game against Milwaukee he shot 3 for 10. So I was looking at over 2.5 threes for Zach LaVine as well, just because of how many threes the Bucks allow. But I think the matchup's good for LaVine. I think the pace of this game is going to be pretty good. It should be a high-scoring game. I think the Bulls can keep it close, even though they're 10-point dogs right now. I think the Bulls are going to come into this game, play well. DeRozan, Vooch, LaVine, they've had almost 2 weeks to rest up. They should be coming into this game fully healthy. They're just going to have to really dominate the usage. It's going to be so concentrated around those 3 guys. And I like LaVine's chances of scoring over 36 fantasy points. I think the minutes are going to be super high for him. Looking at this at his stats on the season, he's averaging over 38 fantasy points per 36 this season. Very solid 29.2% usage rate, which is basically second on the team behind DeMar DeRozan. I like LaVine's chances of going over 36 fantasy points here. I think the matchup against Milwaukee sets up pretty well for him. I know against Milwaukee this year he has done really well. I wanted to pull this up as well real quick. So they've played, like I said, they played twice this season. Zach LaVine has scored in a blowout against Milwaukee when they lost by almost 30. He still scored 36 fantasy points in 33 minutes. He scored 36.1. And then the other game they played Milwaukee, LaVine went nuts. He had 50 fantasy points, 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. So in their 2 matchups against the Bucks this year that LaVine has played in, he has gone over 36 fantasy points in both games. I don't think LaVine's played them at all outside of those 2 games. I don't think there's been any other games. I'm looking through the game log right now. But yeah, those are 2 games. So in the 2 games they played Milwaukee this year, he's gone over 36 fantasy points in both games. So really all the boxes are checked here for LaVine. I think he's going to come into this game fully healthy. He should be ready to go to play big minutes. And obviously the Bulls are going to need these guys to play big minutes. DeRozan, LaVine, Vooch, they're going to have to rely on those 3 guys, just a ton. It's going to be their entire offense. If they want to compete in this series, you're going to have to see DeRozan, LaVine, Vooch play really well on a nightly basis. And I think LaVine's going to have a big role right out of the gate. I think he's going to play big minutes. Obviously, this is like his first time in the playoffs. He's been in the league for 7-8 years, and this is his first year in the playoffs. So maybe he's excited. Maybe he comes out here chucking. Who knows? But I like over 36 fantasy points for Zach LaVine today as our third and final prop in this video. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Over 42.5 PRA for Trae Young, over 38.5 PRA for Kyrie Irving, and over 36 fantasy points for Zach LaVine. Again, 3 plays. Right now, still some props we're probably waiting to be added. Definitely going to have to see, we're probably going to see some more fantasy point projections get added to the board because right now we only have like a few teams fantasy point projections. Like I said, I'll post more props that I like over on Patreon. So if you want to become a Patreon member, I do share additional plays over there outside of just the plays I give out on YouTube. I give out more stuff on Patreon. You can check that out. Link down below in the description if you are interested. But as always, guys, appreciate you watching these videos. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button as well. If you have not signed up for Prizepicks yet, forgot to mention this at the beginning, you can sign up with my promo code NOAH. They'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And as always, you can tell the picks I give in this video. You can take a look at their board, make some picks for yourself. Just make sure when you sign up, you use that code, promo code NOAH, so you get that deposit bonus when you do sign up. But that's all that I got for today, guys. Wish you the best of luck as always. Had a 4-0 sweep yesterday, and hopefully we can do it again today. Hopefully we can go 3-0 today, win all of our plays, make some money on this slate. Wish you guys the best of luck, though, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.